Hello everybody, and welcome back to Tony Northeastern. And as you can see, I have laid out some of the buildings that are going into the diesel yard. I was hoping to make a great start on the diesel yard, but I have other plans. This bridge. As you can see from this view, it looks okay. This view is not so okay. So even though this is in the centre of the bridge on this span, and this is off centre because there's the centre of the bridge there, so it just does not look right. Even if I had moved it over a little bit more, it still wouldn't look right. Ideally it should have gone across there, point to point on the centre of the bridge. So before I get stuck into the diesel yard, I need to take that out. But before I take it out, I need to take some measurements of the centres before that comes out, so the new piece would slot in and the sides would still look parallel. It just doesn't look right. I mean, I've reviewed loads of bridges, well, I've viewed loads of pictures of bridges, and the spans across the bridges always follow the diagonal travel. So I'm hoping to salvage a few bits. I think I can still use these. I'll salvage them, but the rest of it will end up as scrap. Alright, as I said before, the first thing I'll do is I'll mark the actual centre of the spans, which is that one there and that one there. Right, so it's 85mm off centre. So I've made a note of that. The dimension between the two uprights inside the flange is 130, so I've made a note of that. Right, now let's cut it out. There you go, that looks better already. If I can take this twist out of them, I'll use them again. Right, so the next thing is to take these off very, very gingerly, because I want to keep the upright flange, because the new centerpiece is going to go underneath when I come to design it. So I'm just going to use this very sharp scalpel and just try and take as much off as close to the flange as possible without damaging it. There's another bit off. I think that'll come off quite easy. What I'll do is I'll sand it down to the original bridge shape. So I've got to support it, otherwise it's just going to, all this weight I'm putting on the blade. Okay, as you can see, I think I've been very, very lucky. All it's done is taken the paint off, and it hasn't melted. The top girder underneath, which is good. So all I've got to do now is just sand that down, and then when it's painted you will never know. Well, you will do if you've watched all the videos. Okay, so I shall carry on and sand that down, clear up the mess, and make the new span. Okay, as you can see, I've managed to salvage the two original kit pieces and the cross member without breaking it, but these two bits here can go back in the bin because I don't think they're going to be long enough, because going diagonally. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw it out on this piece of card, full size, just the center portion of the bridge. So we need a good straight line. Now the two measurements I took was 130, which is the inner flange centers, so now we have the two inner sides of the bridge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the center of this 150, it's about 300 mil, so there's 150 there. Let's take it to the edge of the card, which is 171, so if I go 171 there, 171. Right, so that should be 90 degrees. Let's just check it with a square. See how accurate that is. Yep, that's 90 degrees. Now the other measurement I took was the offset measurement, which was 85. And there we have it. That line there will be the center of the new span. So all I got to work out now is how I'm going to use these. I'll probably use them like that. I'm going to have to cut these at the same angle as that, so it follows the new I-beams I'm going to put in. Right, I have decided to cut them through at the same angle as that angle there, whatever that angle may be. It looks like 95 degrees to me. And by doing that, I have a center for the span, equal distances there. That distance there is 46 mil, so it's 23 mil centers. And now that's how I'm going to set them up, like so. But the thing is, this cross member I so gingerly saved. Ooh, might get away with putting that back in as well. I have bought some quarter by 250 styrene beams, or I-beams, which I'm going to mount those pieces to. So, and at the ends I'm going to have to angle them to suit the angles as well, and I'm going to have to glue on some sort of plate so I can squeeze it on the inside and glue it in. Measure what I've got across there. which is 155. So I need to cut these lengths to 155. And I've already got the angle to suit, so what I'll trim one side. Thing to do is to mark out the positions where I want to put these two. So I'll just mark that on the inside. Let's see what it looks like on the plan first. Yeah, 24mm. Okay, let's glue it on. Let's glue it on. All I'm doing, I'm just gluing them centre of the I-beam. Okay, so I shall continue, glue the rest of the bits together, and we'll have another look. Okay, as you can see, I have glued the pieces into the I-beams now. And I'll tell you what, already that is looking 100% better than the original curved piece. It looks right, it looks prototypical, and I think that's how it should have been done in the first place. Okay, there it is on the bridge. It's not painted yet, it's just sitting there, it's not glued in, and already it's looking 100% better. It looks right. It follows the diagonal of the bridge. So the next job is to paint it and then glue it in place. Right, that's taken me a couple of hours to do. So next time you'll see that, it'll be permanently on. And the new centre span is now currently in position on its bridge. I'm just waiting for the glue to go off, and then we can move on to the depot down there. Right, so while that is going off, let's have a look at the depot. I have done. Okay, as you can see, the buildings have been placed in and around the diesel yard. My water tower has finally showed up. It's a Bachmann Scenics water tower, and the brick colouring matches the brick colouring on the actual shed there, which is good. And obviously the office and the diesel tanks you know about. I've dropped in this Triang water crane. I've had to cut the floor out to drop this in because it was sitting too high. So that's in place now. The Workman's Rest building, which is that building there, the prefab, that's where that's going to stay. So all the buildings are here, what I can think of. So the next thing to do would be to ballast the tracks all the way up to the cobblestones. So I've got to ballast the tracks from there all the way just past that signal on the left hand side. So basically it's the line running into the diesel yard. It's got to be ballasted. Okay, as you can see, I have laid the new ballast. It's only dry at the moment, and I've covered the areas that I don't want to get wet with kitchen towel. So it's all dry ballasted at the moment. So, next thing to do is to spray on some soapy water. Just using a spray bottle, set on a very fine setting, just to spray the dry ballast so that the PVA will take to it. And then I just add the PVA with a syringe. Your PVA and water is 50% water and 50% PVA. Because the ballast is already wet, it just seeps straight into it. The odd places you might find the ballast actually lifted up, so just get your spatula and gently just tap it back down. The ballast here at the depot is still dry, and I put the ballast in between the cobbles, as you can see, so it's just a case of dampening that and putting the PVA in. As you can see, that's a major job out of the way. So ballasted all the way through there, under the bridge, all the way past the signal box, all the way down to that signal. It's still got a bit of polythene over the top, all the way around to that point, which is just about, if I can just point it out to you, if I can get in straight, it's just about there where the ballast finishes. Well, here I might as well do some green scenery for that brown patch there and that patch there. So while we're here, we might as well do this bit with a bit of greenery. Okay, I think I'll let that dry. I thought I'd have a look at some of the buildings we've got to adapt for the diesel yard. First thing I want to tackle is the stores. This old 20-ton LMS van, we're just gonna remove the LMS as we can. Rubbed it down a little bit. If you look closely there, it's got two LMS transfers, one behind the other. Right, so I've already added a base. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to glue some other bits of scrap, just to, because it would have had some sort of timbers or something underneath it to keep it off the floor. That, glue them on. Just trim the ends a little bit first. These were left over from a kit as well. Not a lot I need to do to this really. Okay, so those will keep it off the floor. I'm going to paint all that black, and then I'm going to paint that like a rustic red, and then paint that black as well. So I'll quickly do all of that because there's not a lot to do to it really. I've added a base, added some plinths to keep it off the ground. That's about all to that really. Okay, as you can see, I've added a sign and I've weathered it slightly. Just going to finish it off now with a little bit of dark green. And then you just wipe it off. Just by using a cotton bud. There you go, job done. I've also painted the planking underneath. So there we have the stores. So let's go and put it on the layout. Okay, there it is in its final resting position. And here we are, looking at the bridge again. Right, I think that's all we have time for this week. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.